Here's our conversation with Trevor Matich on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Trevor, at the ripe age of 19 years, 2 months, and a few days, how would you rate Zach Wilson's overall performance in his initial start as the BYU quarterback?
Brassy. He was brassy and brash. I tell you, a lot of times a young quarterback like that would be timid, be afraid to make the mistake, want to think things through an extra beat before he threw the ball to make sure it was safe. That's not what he did. He dropped back, he saw what he wanted, and he took it. And I thought that showed a lot of moxie from a young quarterback in a stressful situation.
He just looked comfortable, and nothing looked super stressful for him. I mean, things could have been sped up. It could have been awkward. Instead, he has a real pocket presence, and, of course, his legs are a new wrinkle to the BYU offense as well.
Yeah, and all those things led to, plus the decisive nature of how he made decisions in there, led to a real spark for that offense. I mean, the pace of everything picked up. I don't mean just between snaps. I mean during the snap. Everything happened faster. The ball came out faster. When he decided to leave, he was gone right now. And that's one of the important things when you're a young quarterback, really any quarterback, is to make a decision. And even if it's not the right one, make it fast and hit it hard. If you mess up full throttle. Not trying to decode things for an extra second or so in the pocket, because that's when quarterbacks get in trouble. And when he was doing things at that faster pace, the entire offense fed off of that energy, and they fed off of that pace. And I think that's one of the reasons they did so well.
ESPN's Trevor Matich, college football insider, with us on BYU Sports Nation as part of Matich Monday. What was the best thing you saw overall from BYU in Saturday night's win against Hawaii?
You know, it was the energy on defense. I mean, the offense deserves a lot of credit for what they did, but the defense of Hawaii is not very good. So they had the opportunity to kind of get into first gear and get off the blocks. That Hawaii offense is no joke. And the BYU defense was all over the field. I mean, they played with passion, and I loved that part of it. Now, give Coach Tuiaki and the defensive staff a lot of credit for their schemes, because they were extremely creative. They put the guys in position to attack from a lot of different directions. Defensive players feed off of that, though. They don't want to read and react. They don't want to catch the offense and try to stop them from, getting something big after we see what's happening. Defensive players want to attack first and make the offense respond to what they're doing. And they attacked from so many places. It was so much fun. Corbin Kaufusi, for goodness sake, lining up a lot of the time and in a linebacker position. That's what Brian Urlacher used to do at New Mexico before he went on to a Hall of Fame career with the Chicago Bears, Hall of Fame caliber. And that's what they did with Corbin, and I thought that was just a lot of fun, and I thought the defense fed off of a lot of the big plays that Kaufusi made. Then I think you talk about how that defensive style fed into the matchup against Hawaii. That run and shoot for Hawaii is predicated on the quarterback and the receiver making a read of the coverage. The receiver makes that read, and he adjusts his route. The quarterback makes the same read, anticipates what the receiver's adjustment will be, and throws the ball to the new spot. But by having so many different looks, so many kinds of attacking styles that they used, it made the Hawaii offense, the quarterback, sit back and think an extra beat, and that threw off the rhythm that has made them so successful. So from a coaching standpoint, it was creative. From a player standpoint, they fed into the passion, and that was the thing that stood out the most.
A pitcher's best friend is a double play. A quarterback's best friend is a good run game, and BYU had that. 280 yards, 6 yards a carry. 3 different guys had 9 carries and at least 5 yards per carry. And Matt Hadley, Lopini Katoa, and Riley Burt, what did you think of the BYU run game Saturday?
They ran with anger, didn't they? I mean, anger. They hit the hole hard. They blasted through arm tackles. And then they hit another gear and burst when they got to the second level, and they did. I mean, they had 4 different guys have a run, at least one run, of over 15 yards. And that means they're doing work on the second level. and so were the blockers. I mean, one thing that stood out to me about the running game was how all of the running backs did such a good job of pressing the whole play side and then cutting back to find a crease on the backside. And that only works if the tight ends and the offensive line sustain their blocks. So the combination of the patience and vision of the backs with the sustaining of the blockers really came together and gave BYU a terrific run game. Now, what did that do for Zach Wilson? It meant that BYU didn't have to pass. He only attempted 24 passes to 47 rushing attempts, and that helps when you're a young quarterback. We saw Georgia struggle with that against LSU. When Georgia didn't have to pass this year, they were really good at passing. But when Georgia had to pass on third and medium or long, they really struggled because now they were one-dimensional and they weren't good at it. Well, the running game gave BYU a true two-dimensional attack, running and passing, and that really helped their young quarterback.
National champion center at BYU and ESPN college football insider Trevor Matich with us on BYU Sports Nation. I know that BYU still technically needs 2 more wins before they become bowl eligible, but man, the win over Hawaii makes me feel a lot better about BYU and the certainty that they will be in the postseason. How do you feel about it, Trevor?
Yeah, I do feel a lot better, and there is a lot of football left to be played. But when you look at that schedule, you look at UMass and New Mexico State in November as the best opportunities as we look at it from today. Those teams are both 2-5 right now. They're not very good, but that doesn't mean that BYU couldn't lose either one of those games. So they'll need to keep preparing to get to 6. And why just get to 6, for goodness sake? You know, but Northern Illinois, the next game after the bye, that's one of the best defenses in the group of 5. I mean, they opened up with Iowa and Utah and shut them both out in the first half, or shut them both out of the end zone anyway. Utah only scored 1 touchdown on offense against Northern Illinois. So this is going to be a different sort of a beast on defense that the BYU offense will face. At Boise has always been a problem. Utah's on fire to close the season up there in Salt Lake. So, yeah, UMass and New Mexico State, I think we can, cautiously pencil those in as wins and hope that BYU can extend their season through that.
Yeah, that would be great. And then if you get Boise State or Utah, that'd be a huge bonus, right?
Okay. Utah. Yeah, go beat Utah.
Yeah, beat Utah. Let's go. Snap the streak. Okay, Alabama's obviously the #1 national championship contender. What other teams are realistically in the mix at this point, in your opinion?
Right now, I think the best matchup, if the season were to end today and the playoffs were to start, for Alabama is Notre Dame. The reason is that they're the most complete team and the most balanced team. I mean, they struggled a bit on offense against Pitt last week, but they have an offense that's got a running game and a passing game that can attack anywhere on the field with efficiency, and a defense that has what you need against Alabama, and that is an organic pass rush with the defensive line. Notre Dame's got 4 individual defensive linemen with NFL-caliber pass rush skills, and they put them on the field at the same time. So they can pressure Tua without having to blitz extra guys and take them out of coverage, which you have to have against Tua. Now, they're the best matchup. I'm not saying they'll win, but when you look at the other contenders, there's things I worry about. Ohio State's defense is still giving up huge plays against teams that don't have nearly the big play potential with playmakers that Alabama has. LSU right now, I think, is growing, but they're not ready to take on Alabama, not yet. I think you look at Michigan, their offense, I think it gets stifled against Ohio State. Clemson right now is interesting because their young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, has undeniable arm talent, but if the season ended today, I don't think he'd be ready to face Alabama just because of the speed of the game and the game management, the complexities of it, that I think he will develop over the course of the season and be ready by the end of the year. But right now, I don't think he is. And then you look at Georgia, and they were exposed for not being able to protect the passer in obvious passing situations against LSU. So you put all that together. Who can challenge Alabama? If the season ended today, I would say Notre Dame has the best chance. At the end of the season, I would say Clemson has the best chance if Trevor Lawrence continues to progress.
I'm guessing you agree with me, Trevor. Notre Dame in 2018 greater than Notre Dame in 2012 right now.
Let's
overall.
hope so.
Well, 2012, yeah, you're talking about Notre Dame. Notre Dame played Alabama in the BCS National Championship game in 2012, and they lost that game in pregame warm-ups when Alabama came out of the tunnel. They looked at those Alabama players, and they looked them up and down, head to toe, and they realized, okay, we don't belong on the field with these guys.
Neither
and they freaked out. Yeah, they just completely freaked out. Of course, they had a true freshman at quarterback, and they freaked out. Yeah, this is a different Notre Dame team, but I would be really cautious if I'm anybody to start that chant, "We want Bama." Not this year. Alabama leads the nation in offensive scoring. Alabama. Normally they beat you 17-3 because their defense is so good. This year they beat you 60-3. So this is you're going to need to score points, and that's one of the reasons, by the way, that Clemson made the switch from senior quarterback Kelly Bryant to freshman Trevor Lawrence, because he's got the arm talent to hopefully keep up with Alabama if he gets enough experience in.
Great stuff, Trevor. We will, I guess, see you after the bye week, or how about you just join us on Monday anyway as we count down to the Huskies?
I would love to do that. You know why? Because BYU is guaranteed to not lose a game this week, so that's a good thing.
Thanks, Trevor.
All right, guys.
Trevor Matich on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.